I may be spoiling a couple other videos with the pickups I'm going to show you in this video, but I think that's probably okay. Not everyone watches every video, so I'm sure it's fine. But welcome to a pickup video. Make sure you grab a snack, grab a drink. I've got some water here because this is probably going to be a pretty long video like they always are. So let's get started. Like always, I'm going to go through the accessories, the promo stuff, the toys, the random things that are not actual games. So to start off, from Pink Gorilla, I got this little set of, I guess these are like little dominoes or something, but they're Pikmin themed. And you guys know I'm a big Pikmin fan, so obviously had to buy those. I also have the new Pokemon Snap magnetic photo frame, which I believe was a pre-order bonus for the game. I don't know from which store. But it's got this big sticker on the front that does not want to come off, so I'm not going to bother. I also picked up a Pop figure, and I know, I'm not a fan of Pop figures. This is the only one that I have, and the only one I'm interested in having, but it is Banjo-Kazooie. Behind the camera, I have a little standing glass case with 4 shelves. The bottom one is Mario, second one up is Pokemon, the top one is Donkey Kong, and the second one down is all Banjo-Kazooie stuff. So that's why I got this, because I do have that little Banjo shrine or whatever you want to call it, but they didn't release a lot of promotional or like just other random things for the Banjo-Kazooie games. So I have like the not for resale cartridges for N64, I've got the amiibo, I have the Banjo Diddy Kong Racing toy, I have a few of the plushies and the custom painted N64 controller and stuff like that, but there's not a ton out there, so I gotta get what I can, and unfortunately that means a Pop figure has entered the chat. Oh, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Continuing on, I have the game for this as well, but it came with this. It's a soundtrack CD for, I can't remember the name of it, and it doesn't say it on here. It's like in the River City Ransom series, but whatever the newer one is for Switch, came with that soundtrack. I also got a couple books here. We've actually had these come through the store a couple times, and I was like, oh, these are super cool, but I just didn't ever care to add them to my collection, but this time I did. So I got the Virtual Boy Works book from Limited Run, and as you guys know, I have the full Virtual Boy set, so just kind of a cool piece to go along with that. And you guys know the set that I'm currently working on, so I had to get the Super NES Works book as well. So pretty cool stuff. Let me actually put these down here. There's not a lot of room right here. I do have 2 Game & Watches to show you guys, which don't get a lot of Game & Watches for the collection. I would love to get more, but they're just so hard to find. So unless I'm going to a bunch of other stores like the road trip I just did with Cody, or going to a convention like the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, it's really hard to find this stuff. But I did get 2 new ones recently, the first of which is Fire. This is the Japanese version, and of course I would like to collect just the North American versions, and there is a North American version of this Fire Game & Watch game, but I'll take the Japanese one for now. I got this at Pink Gorilla. The other one that I picked up is Mickey and Donald, and this is one of the dual screen ones here. This one actually got traded into our store, which is really awesome because it just, like I said, doesn't really ever happen unless it's the the new Zelda one or the newer Mario Bros one. So very cool to get those, love it. I did finally get the last North American Game Boy camera that I needed, which was the green one. So I don't think you can see them. I don't know if you can even see that Donkey Kong, but they're on the shelf right above that. I think it's right out of frame. But I already had, what's up there? Yellow, blue, and red. So I just needed the green one to complete that little set. There is an atomic purple one that came out in Japan, which I would like to get. And then there's also a gold one, which is incredibly expensive and rare. I don't know if I'll ever add that one to the collection, but it would be nice to get it someday. And then I believe we have a couple more accessories, then we'll jump into the games. I have a couple PlayStation memory cards here, which we just randomly got these around the same time from 2 separate people, which is pretty unusual, but I got 2 factory sealed PS1 memory cards here. We have the standard gray and then the clear blue, what do they call it? I guess it just says blue. I thought that the blue one had, Island Blue. So Island Blue and then Light Gray. And I have a bunch of other PS1 memory cards in like different packaging, different colors, stuff like that. So always looking for more to add to the collection, and these both got traded into my store. Like I said, different days from two different people, but just super unusual. I believe there was a clear green one that had the same type of packaging from one of the people as well, but we already had that one in the collection. One more accessory to show you guys, and then one console. The accessory, this one is really, really cool, and I am super glad that I was able to find this. This is the game system cabinet for the Super Nintendo, or it can also work for the NES as indicated on the box there. From what I know, there are two different versions of this cabinet. There's this one with the gray drawer, and there's one that has a black drawer. And from my understanding, the gray one is much harder to find. And there's only, at the time of filming, there's only one that sold on eBay recently, and I think it went for something like $250. I got this for like $145 at a game store in Ohio. So I think that was a pretty good score, and it's in pretty good condition overall, so very happy with that. These things are hard to find even without the box. The Super Nintendo ones are. You see the N64 ones all the time, but the Super Nintendo one's pretty hard to find. So very, very happy with that. And then the last thing that I have to show you guys before we get to the actual games is a console bundle. And this is basically just a condition upgrade, but, and the handle, of course, just popped out again. It did that the other day. There we go. I'm gonna pick it up by not using the handle, but this is the NES Deluxe set. And this is the standard release one. If it was the test market one, it would not say Deluxe set right here. It would just be blank. So maybe eventually I'll get one of those as well. But my box here, the box, I think the box and styrofoam that I have here was from my collection already, but everything else on the inside was an upgrade from a separate deluxe set that got traded in at our store. And I'm pretty sure it was my box and everything, but there were so many components I was able to upgrade the condition of. I was missing a few things out of my box as well, so now that one is fully complete with at least most of the baggies and stuff like that. Of course, all the paperwork is in there, and to complete it with the games, the boxes for the Duck Hunt and Gyromite games, I had to take them off of the wall over here. These are my NES games here. So I now need to get a separate boxed copy of Duck Hunt and Gyromite to go back on the wall. So, one more accessory that I almost overlooked. The video showing the pickup of this one just went live for me earlier today. I'm filming this on a Saturday, which are the days I upload videos here on the SicCooper channel. I don't know when this particular pickup video is going to be coming out, but I imagine before the last road trip video with Cody comes out, because we filmed SNES Quest episodes 3, 4, and 5 on this road trip that we just did. So some of the stuff I'm showing here is from those road trip videos, but I still have stuff that is at Cody's place in Vegas that I don't have here to show you, so that'll be in hopefully the next pickup video. But this one we got on the road trip, and it was already shown for sure, and that is the AC adapter set for the Virtual Boy, which is pretty cool. And it makes sense, but I didn't know that this existed. I just had never seen one. And I have a bunch of Virtual Boy accessories that are in box and stuff, but they're all Japanese. I have like not the AC adapter set, but the battery pack. I think it's that. I don't know. I have something similar to this in the box, but it's the Japanese version. I also have the visor in the box and a pair of earbuds that are Virtual Boy branded that are in the box. But like I said, those are all Japanese accessories. This is the first North American Virtual Boy accessory that I have for the collection outside of the, whatever comes in the console box. So pretty cool stuff. Seems to be pretty hard to find. They're not cheap, but I think I got a decent price on it. It was like $100 at an antique mall. So pretty cool. But yeah, I think that is it for all of the accessories and consoles and all of that. So now we're just jumping into the games, and we usually try to go console by console. So as I drop things on the floor, all right, let's start with GameCube. I've been working on the Player's Choice set, as I already have the complete North American library in Black Label form, minus a couple games that only came Player's Choice. I do have those, but my Player's Choice section right now is about this. So I'm missing a lot, and I added 2 new ones to the collection this time around. We have Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 and Sonic Mega Collection. Nothing super exciting with those, but still cool. I actually only have one PS2 game to show you, which I guess I'll show now. That is Piglet's Big Game. This is a factory sealed copy, and as you guys know, I'm moving away from wanting factory sealed games, and I want to replace everything with complete copies. This game, however, is kind of like exploding in the meme category right now for being Silent Hill for babies, and happened to find this on the road trip, and there have been complete copies apparently. You know, don't know how legit it is, but there have been copies that look like they're selling on eBay, just complete copies, for like $100 to $300. Who knows if any of those are actual sales or not, but this game has gotten more expensive. This is like a $10 game before. I paid $70 or $60 for the sealed one here, so not a bad deal for, you know, the situation that it's in right now. But I would love to just get a complete copy to replace this at some point. Let's move on from PS2, going a little bit older, to PS1. The first one here is just a condition upgrade, but it is a nice one, and that is the Spyro Collector's Edition Triple Pack. And as you can see, this one has the original plastic seal on the box, just opened at the side, so obviously you can still pull the games out. But we already had this in the collection, just didn't have the plastic on the box, but also my box was really, really rough and beat up. All the corners and edges were all like really worn down and dented in and creased, so this is a nice upgrade over that one. And then I picked up a few PS1 games on the road trip that are just games I don't see very often. Some of these we've actually had come through our store, and for whatever reason I didn't grab them, but we're adding to the collection now. We have Grudge Warriors, Blast Radius, Crime Killer, and then this one I had actually never seen before, and it's a game called Burning Road. Looks like a test drive game mixed with Twisted Metal or something, I don't know. But I've mentioned it a few times. I've been thinking about focusing on PS1 after I finish the Super Nintendo set. I'm kind of doing 3DS as well, but that Barbie game is so expensive and I don't want to spend the money on that. So I think PS1 is a little bit more feasible to actually finish, so we'll see. We'll see. We still have a lot of Super Nintendo to go. Moving on, let's go to the original DS. I only have 3 games here to show you. The first 2 I actually picked up at a GameStop on our road trip. Got very lucky and just so happened to need these 2 out of like the 5 games I bought from them, but they were all really good prices. So we got Dragon Ball Origins 2, and then the big one, Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans. This game is over $100, which is crazy. I didn't know that there were any DS Dragon Ball games that were quite that expensive, but at GameStop, I think this was like $57, so it was a really, really good price. Both complete, of course. And then the last one that I got from my store is Full Metal Alchemist Dual Sympathy. I have 2 Full Metal Alchemist games now for the DS. I don't know if there are any more, but that is another kind of uncommon game that don't see very often and we didn't have in the collection, so we had to add it. Next up, where should we go? Let's just go to 3DS, just stay in line there. These are going to be in no particular order, but I am going to start with some cartridges first. And these are no normal cartridges. These are all not for resale cartridges that I picked up from Vacuums and Video Games, which is an actual store in Ohio. And yes, they did carry vacuums and video games. It was the weirdest thing, but one of the coolest stores I've ever been to. They had all these not for resale 3DS cartridges. I may have lost 1 or 2 of them in my car because when I was bringing a tub of stuff home from my store, I took a hard turn and the tub tipped over in my back seat. Stuff went everywhere. I looked in the floorboard and I tried to find them, but I might have missed 1 or 2. Maybe you'll see those in the future, but for now I have these. And they had a ton of not for resale games for the 3DS. We already have so many in the collection, so I was surprised to find even this many that we didn't have. So we have the original Yokai Watch. And for those that don't know, not for resale games are sometimes full versions of the game. Sometimes they're demos, but essentially these are the ones that would be in a kiosk at a store that you're allowed to go in and play. So they are marked with the not for resale insignia on the front, which you can hopefully see there if it ever wants to focus. Come on. Is it focusing? Well, you get the idea. But Kirby, Planet Robobot. We also have Hyrule Legends Warriors. Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World. Super Smash Bros. And we have Lego Star Wars 3. So pretty cool. I have a little Club Nintendo DS case that's got some like reversible cover art, and it holds a bunch of DS or 3DS cartridges in there. That's where I have all my not for resale games, and I don't think all of these are going to fit, so I may have to get a second one. But moving on to the normal case games here. Nothing like too special in here, just a few uncommon things, and then one at the end that's I guess a little special. But we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The movie version is what, or movie edition or whatever, is what Pricecharting calls this one, but there's 2 Ninja Turtle games and they're both just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Very confusing. I thought that maybe the other one was in here, but it's not. We have Goosebumps, the game. We have Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 with a gigantic Walmart sticker on the front, which is for up to $7.50 towards 1 admission ticket to see the movie with the purchase of this game. That's weird that it's on the actual game and wasn't on the seal. We have Paddington Adventures in London. I bet that game is incredible. We have Zoo Resort 3D. Carnival Games Wild West 3D. Ghost Recon Shadow Wars. Lego Ninjago Shadow of Ronin. Garfield Kart. And then this is the one that's maybe a little bit special. This is Mario 3D Land, but it's the refurbished product variant version. And these were only available directly through Nintendo's website, so store.nintendo.com. I haven't seen any Switch games on there with the refurbished branding on them, but there were 3DS, Wii, and Wii U games, which I have a lot of in the collection, and most of them I bought myself from Nintendo's website. So it's kind of cool. I have a bunch of accessories and some handheld consoles as well that are all, refurbished from them. And they may not be worth more than like a regular copy of the game to some people, but I think that they're really, really cool. It's a fun subset to kind of go after and collect for, because who even knows how many 3DS games have, that little refurbished thing on them. And this one's printed, but I have seen some where it's a sticker on it as well. So, I don't know, kind of a cool thing to go after in my opinion. Next up, let's look at NES, because I only have a few here. I did get one instruction manual for a box we already have back here, and that is Deja Vu. And then 3 complete in box games here. This first one made no sense to me because it's Yoshi's Cookie. This got traded in at the store, and I was looking at it and I was like, I know that I have a Yoshi game that's yellow, which is just Yoshi, but I was like, this one doesn't look super familiar. I don't think that I have this in the collection. But then I checked my spreadsheet on my phone in Google Sheets, and it said I did have it. And it's got the date that I picked it up, the condition that it was in. I have notes for the condition and everything. And then Abby was home that day, and I was at work, and I was like, hey, can you check our copy of Yoshi's Cookie and see if it's got like these paper inserts and stuff, because I like to compare things. And she was like, oh, we don't have that game. And I was like, what the heck? I thought we didn't have it, but it's on the spreadsheet. And there's no way that I would have accidentally completely entered a game with condition notes if we didn't actually have it. And she sent me a picture of where it should have been. It wasn't there. I looked through the whole thing of games. I could not find it, so we actually do have it now. And the only good thing is that this one appears to be in better condition than whichever one I had listed in the spreadsheet. So, kind of weird. And then I also picked up Spot, the video game. And this one has the plastic on the box, cut open at the top just how I like it. And then the last one got traded into our store. This one does not have an instruction manual, but it does have the game, and that is Little Ninja Brothers, which is a fairly uncommon, kind of expensive game. Looking for a manual for that. It's probably not going to be too easy to find. But that's it for the NES stuff. I'm going to save Super Nintendo for last, as you guys know. Let's go with Nintendo Switch, and then we have Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and then we'll finish off with the Super Nintendo stuff. So for the big box Switch games first, we have Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. This is the deluxe edition. I'm pretty sure it was deluxe edition. That's what they're calling it. Also got Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore Collector's Edition. And this one has like a weird printing thing on the back. They look like scrapes, but they're not. Like they have a little bit of a texture to them, but that definitely happened in the printing, which is pretty unfortunate, but I don't really care too much. We also got Return to Monkey Island in the big box here. And then this is a pretty pricey one, but the Castlevania Advance Collection. I don't know what they call this version, the deluxe edition, the collector's edition, whatever it is. But this one is really cool. It's one of the ones that's got the little buttons and switch on here. I think it like lights up and plays some music. We have it like bagged, so I can't do that unfortunately, but really, really awesome. And this one just came out. This is the Halloween Special Edition. And it's kind of weird because the normal version of this game is a double pack with Evil Dead game, but then they did a special edition of just the Halloween one by itself. So very interesting. Oh no, they call it the Halloween Special Edition, but the back shows it with the Evil Dead game. So I don't know, that's really weird. All the collector's edition stuff that's in here is Halloween themed, not Evil Dead themed. There's a plush, looks like some trading cards, a poster. Yeah, so interesting that they don't really have any mention of the Evil Dead game except for that on the back. Weird. But that's it for the big box stuff, and then, well, at least mostly, for the really big box stuff. But I do have all of these games here that we're adding to the collection. So let's jump into it. We have Gear Club Unlimited 2. I've heard pretty good things about the Gear Club games. I haven't really played a racing game in quite some time, aside from, you know, like Mario Kart. But I had a lot of fun with Gran Turismo when I was a kid, and then Sega GT 2002 on the original Xbox. Loved those games, so maybe we'll give that a try. I got a steelbook for Octopath Traveler 2, just a steelbook only. And then just some random games. We got the Paw Patrol Mighty Pups. We have Grim Fandango. This one has a slipcover. I actually have this game, but mine is sealed, so I'm swapping them, taking the sealed one to the store, keeping the open one. This is a game I could not remember. It's River City Saga 3 Kingdoms Next. And this is an import title, but as you know, the Switch is region free, and this has English options. We got these new at the store, and of course I opened mine because I wanted to play this game. Looks pretty fun. It is a like side-scrolling beat 'em up. It kind of looks like, with the guy riding the motorcycle or the whatever that is, kind of looks like Metal Slug style, which I think that'll be pretty fun. We also have the I don't know if it's Toho or Taohao Spell Carnival. We have Nintendo Switch Sports. This is an opened copy that I'm just replacing, taking my sealed copy to the store, keeping that one. We have Lego Horizon Adventures. We have, for some reason, like the only Mario game for the Switch that we didn't have in the collection, Mario Party Superstars. Really surprised we didn't have that one. I have played it, but I think we played it not here. I think at Vault, which is the barcade in Vancouver. We have My Universe School Teacher. Riveting. We have Blasphemous 2. We have the Patrick Star game. I've heard this one is not that great, unfortunately, but I would like to give it a shot at some point. I was playing through Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated because I played the original on PS2 when I was younger, never beat it, and I was like, oh, I'll play the Switch version. Played about 3 or 4 hours and then kind of got bored. We have Epic Mickey Rebrushed, another game that I have never played, so maybe I'll try out the Switch version. We have a new release version of Minecraft for the Switch, and this one has a Super Mario mashup pack included. I'm not sure if that comes with the original game or not, but it's definitely not on the cover of the older version. So they did a re-release for that because they released a PS5 version, and this one for Switch has the same cover art as that one, minus the Mario stuff, of course. We have another My Universe game, and that is My Baby! We have Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. We have the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. We have Shim. We have the Atari 50 Expanded Edition. And then we have the Atari 50 Expanded Steelbook Edition, with a slipcover as well. We have Mario and Luigi Brothership. I have not started this one yet, but I do plan on it. We have Sonic Mania and Team Sonic Racing Double Pack. Had the game separately, but gotta get the double pack. We have the Nintendo Labo Toy-Con 04. I realize that this is the only Labo game that we have in the collection now that's not, you know, in the big cardboard box. And I think it would be cool to have all these individual games on the shelf as well, because they have the black spines, so they would really stand out. We have Hot Wheels Unleashed. We have some that still have our price tags on them, but we have Turok 3. We have, don't know how to say it, Verce Evermore. And then Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster. So lots of new Switch games. Probably won't be able to fit these on the shelf, and I'll have to rearrange the room again, which I do basically after every single pickup video because I can't fit stuff. Let's move on to Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. I don't know if I have these in any particular order, but I will move them into the new order right now. Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. Bam. All right. We're going to start with some manuals first for boxes we already had. We have Barbie Groovy Games, Top Gun Guts and Glory, Mortal Kombat 2, Solitaire Fun Pack, Street Fighter Alpha 3, Super RC Pro-Am, and Spot the Cool Adventures. So those will go into boxes that are already on the shelves. And we also got some cartridges for boxes we already had. We have Tetris Blast, Quicks or Kicks, not sure how you're supposed to say it, Space Invaders, and Donkey Kong Country. And we also have some Game Boy Advance cartridges here. We have Spyro Season of Ice, NES Classic Series Donkey Kong, Harry Potter Prisoner of Azkaban, Dragon Ball Z collectible card game, Road Rash Jailbreak, and then the only kind of like more expensive one is Summon Night Swordcraft Story. And then on to the boxed ones. For Game Boy Advance, we have a game called Backtrack, which I had never heard of. It says on the back that it's a first-person shooter. It looks like Doom or Wolfenstein style here. But we saw this at one of the stores on the road trip, and I was like, huh, never heard of that game. That's what made me look it up, and it was a really good price, so I picked that up. The other one here I'd also never heard of, and this game was actually factory sealed when I bought it, and I opened it, and I didn't film it. It was on Cody's live stream though, so if you guys caught the road trip live, you may have seen that. It was at a game store called GameBound, and the game is called Juka and the Monophonic Menace. So it still has the plastic on it, and I just cut right around the top there and opened it. So pretty awesome for GBA. We have some Game Boy Color games as well. I think this is Game Boy Color, but it's the Worms Armageddon limited run, like special edition. It's definitely the Game Boy version. I just can't remember if it was Game Boy or Game Boy Color, but there's that. And then this one, we already had the box, but I needed a cartridge and a manual, and then I found this one for a really, really good price on the road trip and was like, well, I'll just buy that, because it's a complete copy, and that is Revelations the Demon Slayer. So we have an extra box now that we're going to be selling at the store once we move to our new location. And then on to original Game Boy, and this is where it gets a little special. First one, not so special, Tesserae, some sort of puzzle game that I've never played, but in very good condition. And then we have two pretty uncommon, pretty special Game Boy games here. I don't know if you guys heard that beep. I don't know if that was the microphone or what. It looks like it's still connected. That was a weird sound. But we have a game called Out of Gas, which I've seen this cartridge before, but it's pretty uncommon. Never seen a boxed one, so definitely had to grab that. And then I also got Ninja Gaiden Shadow, which is also pretty hard to find. This one's in pretty nice condition, aside from this hang tab on there, which unfortunately is basically glued to the box. I tried to peel it up a little bit. There's no way it's coming off without ripping the artwork, so it's gonna stay on there. But this is a pretty uncommon game. Even for a loose cartridge, it's pretty uncommon, and I was so lucky to not only find this complete in box copy on the road trip, but also two loose cartridges that we're gonna be selling at the store. So pretty awesome stuff. That's it for everything except for Super Nintendo. And as you guys know, this is the console that I'm working on completing the set for. I'm getting so close. And I don't want to reveal the number that I'm at because I want to kind of save that for the SNES Quest videos, but we're getting really, really close. First up though, I do have a stack of instruction manuals that I needed, and so we picked up the Flintstones, Timon and Pumbaa's Jungle Games. This one was on the list of manuals that we needed. This is the Majesco version, the black and white version. But according to our spreadsheet, we already have the game complete. So after I'm done filming, I will check, figure it out. We also have Family Feud. We have one of the worst condition manuals I've ever purchased as a standalone manual, and that is Last Action Hero. It's covered in these stickers and it's got creasing and stuff. The only reason I decided to get this is because while looking at my spreadsheet for my collection and looking at this box, the box is also really, really rough and it has stickers on it, so this will match. We also have Beauty and the Beast, Super Battle Tank 2, and Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4 Wall of Fire. This was found at the second to last stop on the road trip, and I could not believe it because we'd gone through 4 or 5 states and like 8 days of game hunting, and that was the first time we saw it. There is one more manual, but I'm going to save it because I actually got the box and cartridge, but first separately, and then later on the same road trip found the manual. So I'll save that, but we do have 2 big stacks of cartridges here. And cartridges for the Super Nintendo, I wasn't really focusing or worrying about getting them because I was like, oh, these will be traded into my store, it'll be fine. But the closer I get to finishing the complete in-box set, I realized I don't want to get the last box on video for the SNES Quest series and then be like, well, actually, I only have every box. I still need a bunch of cartridges. So on the road trip, I was like, I need to track down as many cartridges as I can so that when I do get that last complete in-box game for the set, it is the final thing that I need and I don't have to worry about a manual here or there or a cartridge. That'll all be complete. So I got a bunch of cartridges here and I don't know exactly how many I started with, but I'm down to only needing like 9 cartridges for boxes I already have. And I'm getting really down there on manuals as well. So in no particular order for these cartridges, here we go. We have Power Moves, Super James Pond. These are in good condition for the most part, but like this one has a little rip on the back. Some of them have a little bit of wear, but they're overall pretty good. We have Fun and Games, which very happy I found this. It's kind of uncommon. I saw 2 of them on the road trip, at least that I was looking for. This one is a pretty affordable cartridge. It's like 30-40 bucks, but the complete in box version is like 600 or 700. And I got the box and manual not too long ago, just needed the cartridge to complete it, and we got that, so I'm pretty happy. We also have Home Alone, Capcom Soccer Shootout, we have Dennis the Menace, Street Combat, Mario's Time Machine, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, Lethal Weapon, the one that I accidentally bought, I think 3 times on the road trip because I forgot to delete it from the list of cartridges I needed. We have Spawn the video game, ESPN Baseball Tonight, really hard to find for some reason, dirt cheap though, Stargate, World Heroes, this just needs a little bit of cleaning on it, but the label's really good. We have Timon and Pumbaa's Jungle Games, which, like I said, my spreadsheet said that we already had it complete, so this may be an extra cartridge. I'll find out after the video. Ultimate Fighter, also very, very cheap, but pretty hard to find for some reason. This one took forever to find. This Kakoma Night in Busyland, and this one is in really good condition. This is just a very uncommon game, and I'm pretty happy that I have it complete, because I could imagine that being one of the last, like, 10 or 20 games that someone would need for their set. Very glad to knock that off the list. Prehistoric Man, Super Valis 4, another really hard to find game for some reason, ESPN Speed World. And 3 more here. We have SimCity 2000, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Fighting Edition, and finally, American Gladiators. Such a common cartridge, been waiting for that forever, finally got it on the trip. All right, moving on to the boxed games. This is where it's going to get very, very special. And I will try to go in order of most common or most uncool to save the best for last. So first up, a game that I've passed on multiple times and finally got one that was in good enough condition and at the right price, the Irem Skins game. And I don't know, for some reason the Skins game makes me think that it's like basketball or football or something like that, but this is a golf game. What next? I guess this one. We have NBA Hang Time, one of the more like arcade style sports games. This one I thought was going to be a lot easier to find, but for some reason it was in like the last 60 games that we needed. And I've been looking everywhere for Super Nintendo games, so I don't know why that was so hard to find. Next up, I actually bought this on accident, not knowing that I still needed it. I bought it because it was a good price, and I thought, well, you know, at the very minimum, I could sell it at the store and make a profit, but I was like, it's in really good condition, so it might be a condition upgrade over my copy. And then, like, the next day, I realized when I was going through my list to remove something else I had bought, I was like, oh, hey, that game is on here. I just got that yesterday, not knowing I needed it, and that is The Duel Test Drive 2. So, very happy that I made that mistake. Next up, we have The Blues Brothers. This game is more common on the N64, but for some reason, this Super Nintendo version just eluded me for so long. This is the first game that I picked up on a road trip while we were in Ohio. It was at that first store, Vacuums and Video Games, and it was the only complete-in-box Super Nintendo game they had that we needed, and that was Rap Jam Volume 1. Another kind of cheap one, but for some reason, just so incredibly hard to find. And for a lot of these games, I'm talking about finding them in person, because I could probably go on eBay right now if I had unlimited funds and buy 99% of the games that I still need for the collection, but there's no fun in that, right? So I'm trying to find everything in person, at least as much as I possibly can. I may have to get a few things here or there off of eBay as we get down to needing only a handful of games, but I'm still able to find them in person sometimes, so I'm going to do that for as long as I can. Next up is SimCity 2000. Now, I just showed you a cartridge earlier, and that is for a box we already had. This one was a pretty good price, and I still needed the instruction manual, so I was like, let me just buy this one. It's in good shape, and it was complete, so I'll have an extra box and cartridge to sell at the store, but I'm keeping this one here. Next up, I'm trying to go in order, but it's getting harder as we get up here in price. I don't know what should come next, but we have Aerobiz Supersonic, and this is the one I bought this cartridge and box only at our very first stop on the road trip at Reset Games, and then later on the trip, I found the instruction manual in Ohio at Forever Games to complete this. So that is a complete copy now, which is pretty awesome. I don't know what should come next. We're gonna go with Mario Paint. And this one might look a little bit weird because, as you guys probably know, Mario Paint came with the mouse, and it came in a big box only. This is a 4-display only box. So this is a promotional display item for the stores, and the place that I got this, they either didn't know or didn't care, so they put a cartridge and a manual in here. So this is a complete copy, but it should just be an empty box, but I had to get it because it was super cool. And it wasn't super cheap, it was $100, but it's cool, and I wanted to have it. Not only is it a display box for a game that never came in a box this size, but it's also a player's choice version of the box, which is really, really weird. So, had to have it. Next up, we have a game that I used to play when I was very, very young on the elementary school computers, and that is Sim Ant. And if you guys haven't played this game, from what I remember, it was pretty fun. You could like go underground and like build your ant colony and then go up on the surface and collect materials and food and stuff. I'll probably check that out because I do have fond memories of that game, but it was such a long time ago. I mean, we're talking like, what, like 27 or 28 years ago is probably when I played that game. That's so crazy to think about. Moving on. I don't know which of these next two should go first. Doesn't really matter. We have Airstrike Patrol, Pretty uncommon game, but not super, super expensive, just so hard to find. This one happens to be in really good condition. And then we have the Brainies. This box is unfortunately pretty rough, although the last one I have to show you is the roughest. But Brainies, very uncommon. The last one is the most beat up box out of all of these, unfortunately, but can't really be too picky when I'm looking for games that are just impossible to find in person, and that is Casper. Like I said, it's pretty rough. It's all creased up on the top, the bottom, but it is complete, so can't really complain too much. Now, there is one more game. What I showed you here was all of the standard edition Super Nintendo games. And if you guys are familiar with Super Nintendo collecting, you may know that they didn't really have collector's editions and stuff back then for most video games, but there was at least one for the Super Nintendo. And I'm not talking about Earthbound in the big box or Mario Paint with the mouse or Lethal Enforcer with the gun. I'm talking about an actual special edition. And I have one here. I've actually had a saved search for this on eBay for like 3 years now, and I have not seen a single one pop up. If you look at price charting for this game, it shows one sale for a complete copy ever. For as long as price charting has been gathering data from eBay, which I've seen listings on price charting going back to 2009, so it's not all the way, but man, if only one of these has sold on eBay since 2009, it's pretty freaking rare. And I also feel like I got a really good price on this because I actually found 2 of them for sale. I bought this one for $1,500, and then the other one I saw was listed in a Facebook group for $2,800, and there were 30 comments of people saying, "Oh man, this is such a great price. I wish I had the money right now. This is a great deal for whoever snaps it up." So I think my price of $1,500 was even better, and I also got it through Facebook, through a Facebook group. But my saved search on eBay can now be deleted, and I've seen a few Genesis ones get posted on eBay. There's actually a couple posted right now, but this specifically the Super Nintendo version is just so incredibly rare, and this is the Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage Limited Edition. This box is massive. This is way bigger than the Earthbound box. I can actually grab it to show you real quick because I'd never seen one in person, and I thought it was going to be about this size. But nope. It is this size. It is way bigger. It's thinner, a little bit thinner, but it is much, much bigger. This particular box is not in the best condition. It's got a bunch of creasing up here. The whole corner is dented in. The edge is ripped right there. It's got some wear to the back of it, as you can see, but it's such a rare item that who cares, right? I mean, it's just super, super rare, even in bad condition. So here's what the inside looks like. We have a normal complete copy of the game. It is the special red cartridge version, which is more common than the gray one, but still. We also have the certificate of authenticity up here and 3 little metal pins. This says it's limited to 5,000, and someone actually commented on one of the double jump videos when I showed this for the first time, and they said that it was exclusive to the QVC shopping channel. I don't know how true that is, but if it is, that seems absolutely crazy. And then it's got this big book here, which is a hardcover, and it is comic graphic novel style. Well, I guess it's more comic book, but very, very cool stuff. I am so happy to have this in my collection, and what better time to get it than when I'm nearing the end of the Super Nintendo library. This is such a rare piece, and I'm just really, really happy to own it as a big Super Nintendo fan and big Super Nintendo collector. Having something like this makes my collection a little bit more legit in my eyes. So that is pretty much it for this pickup video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to use a code word, so if you put this word in your comment, it'll tell me you watched the entire video and did not skip through. You watched all 15 of the mid-roll ads that I put in, and I appreciate all of you guys. So I usually pick a word from a game sitting here. So we're going to do Jam from Rap Jam. So J-A-M, use that word in your comment, and I thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you next time.